Big news in Boomtown this week, and that's why 10 TV is here, seeking solutions to the challenges our growing region is facing every day. Some might say the growth is outpacing our ability to keep up. Traffic, housing, schools. So here's what we uncovered this week in Boomtown.
The sky's the limit for Central Ohio, and we're really only getting started with what's possible here.
Where are we going with this? I spoke with One Columbus, the economic development organization for Central Ohio. You'll hear what they say is the future of tech in our area. Plus,
people don't have something to eat, and they don't have a bed to sleep in. They can't begin to work on many other things in their life.
after a controversial vote to ban camping on public property in Newark, the city is now coming up with solutions to end homelessness. And this week we learned Columbus is the only one of 14 large cities in the country to not have a comprehensive public art plan. What city leaders are doing now to change that this week in Boomtown. This week, nearly 700 community leaders came together in Columbus to tackle the population growth in Central Ohio. The theme of this year's Summit on Sustainability is Growing Better Together. Thanks for joining us on This Week in Boomtown. I'm Angela Ann. Now, given the nearly 1 million more people expected to move to Central Ohio by the year 2050, this summit threw everything on the table, from clean energy to more housing, sidewalks, bike paths, and transit.
Every community looks at sustainability a little bit differently because each have their unique challenges, whether you're the city of Mount Vernon in a rural area, or the big city of Columbus, or a suburb like Bexley or Dublin or Licking County. They each want to do what their community really needs.
MORPC's Executive Director William Murdoch says the goal of this summit is for communities to work together and not in silos. Now, one major topic of that summit dealt with transportation. Right now, a Central Ohio Transit Authority levy would bring bus rapid transit to Central Ohio. In fact, 5 high-capacity bus lines. To do that, though, costs money. The plan is called Link Us, and it proposes a 0.5% sales tax increase in Franklin County and parts of Licking, Delaware, Union, and Fairfield, where there are COTA services. Now, in return, voters will see those new bus lines as well as 500 more miles of sidewalks, trails, and bike paths. But what happens if Link Us fails? We brought in an economics professor from Columbus State Community College to talk about that. What happens if Link Us doesn't pass? From an economic standpoint, how else can we move, like you said, 1 million more people if there isn't, we can't build new roads.
Correct.
So
Correct.
What do we do?
Well, the sales tax will continue to be collected at a higher revenue dollar because we assume people will still be roughly of the same economic background that they are today. So if 1 million more people come in, sales taxes will increase around 33%, which is fine, but you will not get high-speed rail. You won't have the extra walking trails, the safety aspects like the lighting, the elevated platforms for people with disabilities, or just some form of an infirmity. You won't have the improvements. You will have status quo. These roads will probably be a little more clogged because you have 1 million more people, and there's no new access to bring on a lot of new infrastructure. So this is all infrastructure building to try to get more people onto mass transit that could take advantage of mass transit and allow those folks then to not be on the highway so we don't have to then invest in highway systems.
Right.
And that's what larger cities do, is try to get people into mass transit.
It's kind of this cycle that goes around, and Link Us is trying to get ahead of this cycle.
That's
so
right, right. Stay ahead of it before it becomes even more costly.
So this is what that levy looks like on the ballot for those who can vote on it. It needs a simple majority of voters to say yes for Link Us to pass. Now, this week in Boomtown, Microsoft dropped a $1 billion announcement. We learned this 200 acres in New Albany won't be the only Central Ohio campus Microsoft plans to build for its cloud technology. The cities of Heath and Hebron have also been selected as part of Microsoft's first phase of investments. I spoke with One Columbus, the economic development organization for Central Ohio, and here's my conversation earlier this week with President and CEO Kenny McDonald. Huge announcement today. Talk about it.
Well, one of the world's best companies chose Central Ohio today. So huge congratulations to Microsoft itself for making the investment and the hard decisions they've made over the years to land here. And huge congratulations to Licking County. It's really ignites even more growth and also brings one of the world's best brands to their backyard. They have had teams looking at the Columbus region for quite a while, and they have a strategy to build out several campuses and to diversify their portfolio. It helps them in a number of different ways, and just glad to see that it's happening in 3 different communities all at the same time.
Kenny, let's talk about big picture here, because obviously we are the technology hub of the Midwest, and some might just say now the country. Where are we going with this as we look at this region booming?
Well, we continue to talk about being the center of economic transformation, the place that you can come in the country and see what the future is, where the future is being built. And we think that the AI backbone, which is these hyperscale data centers, are a critical component of that, along with obviously the semiconductor chips up the road from where these campuses will be. And then, you can see the finance and insurance, military, academic sector all around you being built out. And we're excited to be part of this.
So I'll play devil's advocate for one hot second. Is, as One Columbus and the partnership look at growth and how, you are the economic driver, you guys have this strategy plan. At what point do you say, okay, we're good, we've hit our limit? Is there a limit?
I think it's not only to remember it's not only a growth strategy, but a diversification strategy. And we have to be constantly thinking about the future, what economies being built, not just for today, but 10 years or 20 years from now. And while we're making these exciting announcements, there's also businesses that are being phased out. And automation and technology is also creatively destructing some things. And so we're obsessed with being more diversified in our economy. And we think that will net out in the positive, not only for our communities, but for the citizens that want to stay here and work in the future.
So if you could give me your magic 8 ball, what's around the corner? We're tapping AI now, we're tapping technology. What is coming around the bend that is next?
I think we're just getting started. This is the basic infrastructure you need to grow a diversified, prosperous region. And we continue to build this infrastructure. We continue to make long-term smart decisions and grow at a moderate pace, which we think we're doing, controllable pace. That the sky's the limit for Central Ohio, and we're really only getting started with what's possible here.
And again, that was Kenny McDonald from One Columbus. But as Licking County booms, this issue of homelessness is growing as well. This week, people came together to find better ways to support the unhoused in their community. 10 TV's Carly Dion was in that room as conversations centered around being intentional, committed, and consistent.
Collectively, if we're all moving in the same direction, we can accomplish hard things.
About 180 nonprofit executives, public officials, faith leaders, and volunteers within the community gathered together Tuesday night, seeking solutions to address the issues of housing and homelessness.
Columbus does it well. We're trying to learn from that and bring those kinds of solutions here.
United Way of Licking County Executive Director Deb Dingus says their hope was to bring people together with differing opinions to have productive and positive conversations.
If people don't have something to eat and they don't have a bed to sleep in, they can't begin to work on many other things in their life.
Dingus says their goals are to determine ways to bring more affordable housing options to Licking County, work on supporting current shelters and create new ones, and work on creating a more effective housing system.
I had so much hope for the community to turn out big, and it did.
Newark City Council member Bill Cost, along with several other council members, attended the meeting Tuesday night. The council just passed an ordinance last week banning camping in public spaces. Cost voted against it. Many community members opposed the ordinance for the impact it would have on the homeless community.
Putting a layer of threat around potential fines or jail just adds another level of trauma when our goal is to help individuals.
Some added they appreciated the several elected officials who took the time to be part of the conversation.
So what stuck out to me was that we really have a lot of folks representing all different areas of our city and of our county who are interested in mobilizing toward a solution. I don't think I was aware of that before.
They love the city too. That you wouldn't serve if you didn't really want to be part of this, and they're open to ideas, and I'm just thrilled to see them here.
Now, the United Way of Licking County hopes to add low-barrier shelters into the community that will be open to everyone, despite their different circumstances. A little music here for your day, a celebration of green space in Columbus. Just look at this new pocket park on Waldeck Avenue in the University District. It's by Ohio State and officially opened this week. Organizers say the small corner park is just a way to make sure people have places to gather as new development swallows up more land.
I'm really excited to have this park for our community to come together and continue to come together. And I'm also really excited to see how it can continue to improve upon itself as the years go on.
And here's what's so great about this park. It is one of nearly 50 pocket parks in Columbus. Other cities like Groveport and Upper Arlington are also starting to invest in more green space. Speaking of which, Columbus City Council this week approved $370,000 for 2 plots of land in West Franklinton. This money will be used for public green space in an area that is starting to redevelop. Now this week, 10 TV learned Columbus does not have a comprehensive public art plan. It's the only one of the 14 largest cities in the country to have that void. But a year-long effort to change that is now underway, especially as Greater Columbus continues to boom.
It impacts the economy, it impacts artist skills, it impacts tourism. It's a very visible piece of an arts community and what the arts represent in the city.
Well, our travels to another boomtown showed how leaders elsewhere are making sure artists can afford to stay in booming cities. We wanted to know if leaders in the capital city are doing the same.
We painted at the same time. We had a lot of fun doing it.
It's hard to miss this mural on Parsons Avenue just south of Broad Street, and the other one directly facing it. Both murals funded by Catalyst Columbus and the Women's Fund of Central Ohio.
We feel like the big, you want to go big or go home, right? And so these huge walls that make people smile and hopefully make them feel differently about the people they see every day, make them feel the power of each other. We hope we can do more of it.
The artist says it took 5 weeks to create this masterpiece centered around empowerment. Lucy Shearer also wants it to send a message of why art must remain a critical part for growing cities.
The art that we create in the time that we're in is kind of a log of our culture of that period of time. And that culture, it also kind of forms the culture, and in murals in a very big way form the culture that you're living in. And they enlighten, or they like brighten up your environment. It becomes a part of the fabric of who you are.
It's a fabric we spotted quickly 2 months ago when 10 TV traveled to Austin, Texas, another boomtown city where development outpaced critical infrastructure. Leaders realized the high cost of living pushed many people out of affordability.
Our role in government at all levels is to be aware of that and to be sensitive to it, and then to make sure that we are taking the steps necessary to help ameliorate those situations and help folks so that if they're struggling, we can give them a hand.
Just this week, Austin invested over $21 million in grants to support more than 500 local creatives. A commitment artists like Lucy says needs to happen soon.
Just paying artists what they're worth. at the end of the day, if the cost of living in the city is high, the cost of work is going to be high too.
Last May, the Greater Columbus Arts Council, along with Columbus and Franklin County leaders, launched a public art plan initiative. It's a roadmap that will lay out a blueprint of art for the next 5 to 10 years, which includes investments from all sides.
We have a mural program currently that pays artists to do murals in partnership with other spaces, and the property owner has to come to the table with a little bit of funding too.
And here's where you can get involved. We want to give you a look at one of the mapping tools the Arts Council recently launched. This is where you can pin a location of where you'd like to see more public art. It's so easy to do. And look at all these icons. A lot of it centered around the downtown Columbus area. But if I just zoom out a little bit here, you can see it's not just downtown, but really throughout the greater Columbus metro area. Now, I want to show you something else that's really cool if you're into art. You can take a self-guided tour of all the different artwork in Columbus right now. This is such a great way. Look at all these different tours. Such a great way to also get to know the smaller neighborhoods and where those artists are thriving, and you can learn more about why they chose to paint that art. It's all thriving in Boomtown. Now, if you want to take those tours yourself, we do have a link on our website, 10tv.com. You can look for this story, or you can also go to 10tv.com/featured links. It's that easy to see how artists are, again, thriving in Boomtown. We also have our 10TV Plus original, Welcome to Boomtown. You'll see why we started this series, to help seek solutions for everyone in Central Ohio. I'm Angela Ann, and thanks for watching This Week in Boomtown.